for you to ask. If you're ever out hiking and run out of sunscreen and you want to protect yourself, there's an old native trick you can use. Run up to your nearest aspen tree, rub the outside of the bark. The white chalky powdery substance that'll come off onto your hand and actually be applied to your skin. It has similar effects to that of sunblock with an SPF reported right around 2. All right, anybody on board this afternoon from Wisconsin?
It's open.
All right. Welcome on board, guys. The founder of the Cog Railway was originally from Kenosha, Wisconsin. He was a man by the name of Zalman Simmons. He was actually a pretty famous inventor at the end of the 19th century. He was at the top of the mountain inspecting some insulated telegraph wires he had invented. But the only way to the top of the time
my eye!
day burrow trip. If you're not sure what a burrow is, it's just another name for a donkey. He was later asked Mr. Simmons, what'd you think of that whole experience? He's actually quoted as saying, the views from the top were absolutely spectacular, but the ride on that burrow had to be the most uncivilized thing that I'd ever done. He returned to Kenosha to pull together some investors. They were wildly successful. They managed to pull $1.5 million in 1880. An astronomical sum of money from the down. Kate returned to Colorado, bought up all the land and started construction on the Cog Railway. June 30th, 1891. We welcomed aboard our first passengers. Anyone want to venture a guess as to how much you think a ticket might have cost?
You don't want it?
We got 10 cents, 5 cents, $1 in the correct answer. The correct answer is $5 whole. Adjusted for inflation in 2024 dollars, this is equivalent to about 185 bucks. That price stayed the same for 50 years. Though in 1926, Mr. Simmons did sell the Cog Railway to the original owner and founder of the Broadmoor Hotel, Spencer Penrose, and the two have shared common ownership ever since. For those of you who think you don't know Mr. Simmons, well, you're probably right, you probably don't. But I bet you're familiar with his work if you've ever slept on or heard of a Simmons home restaurant. He was the inventor of that as well. My friends on the two-seat side, we've just entered into Mountain View. Not surprisingly, out your windows there, guys, on the two-seat side. What you're looking at up there, that is actually the summit of Pikes Peak. Yeah, and off on the left-hand side, you can just barely see that black spot up there. That's the Summit House Visitor Center. If you look right around the Summit House Visitor Center, you'll be able to see the wisping snow of the 60-mile-an-hour winds at the top of the mountain. Now in 1806, there was a young Army lieutenant named Zebulon Montgomery Pike on a journey of exploration similar to that of the famous Lewis and Clark expedition. But whereas Lewis and Clark were exploring the Northwest Passage, Pike and his team were exploring the southernmost boundary to newly acquired Peninsula Purchase. When they came across this mountain in the distance. At the time, they believed the mountain to be 18,000 feet high, and they put it in their journals as the Grand Peak. They thought it'd be a good time to summit the mountain to see what they could do from the top. Well, however noble their efforts, they were woefully unprepared. It was the middle of November. They were low on provisions and also in their summer uniforms. So when they very quickly found themselves in waist-deep snow, they wisely decided to stop and turn back around. So Mr. Pike actually never summited the mountain that bears his name. And he also posited in all of his journals that no human being would ever successfully summit the mountain. Well, millions of people every year prove him wrong. As his team descended the mountain, they headed a little too far south into Spanish-controlled territory. They were very promptly captured just below the Arkansas River. His team was held for about 3 or 4 months, but Pike was held for a total of 1.5 years, a total of 18 months, before he was finally released after he was deemed not a spy. Man in car 1, you're in the aisle when the train is moving. Please get out of the aisle.
Ma'am, get out of the aisle, please.
Out of the aisle, please. Thank you, Robbie. Where did I leave off?
That's part of the job, huh?
18 months. He was held once he was
Right?
finally deemed not a spy. He was released back to the Americans and sent to fight in War of 1812 after being given a promotion to the rank of brigadier general. He did later pass away in the War of 1812, actually in 1813 in the Battle of York, due to a gunpowder barrel explosion. The mountain today is known in his honor because Pike's detailed notes, navigational notes in his journals, actually helped successfully navigate everybody who came after him to the top of the mountain. For that reason, they chose to name the mountain Pikes Peak in his honor. Heading back through history, though, About 20 years after Pike, the first successful recorded summiter of the mountain was a mountaineer botanist named Edwin James. For a while, in his honor, the mountain was actually known as James Peak. 200 years before both those gentlemen, the Spanish conquistadors occupied this area of what is now Colorado. They called the mountain El Capitan, or the captain or the leader. 600 years before them, the Ute native tribe called it Tava Akavi, or Sunshine Mountain Sitting Big. This mountain is actually very important in Ute mythology. They do believe that all life begins at the top of Sun Mountain. Heading back 11,000 years ago, we have found remnants of the earliest known peoples in this area called the Clovis culture. They were found remnants originally around Clovis, New Mexico, hence their name. We do believe they had their own name stories and myths for the mountain, but being that they were around so long before written language, and of course, a lot of information has been lost to history. Take a look down in the valley here. You might see those off-colored rocks down there. This is known as the Lion's Den. We've had many park rangers say that on occasion you can actually see one of the big cats out there sunning themselves. On even rarer occasions, I've heard from the mountain lions that the park rangers can be seen out there sunning themselves. So if you have binoculars, let me know what you find.
Yeah.
In 1893, there was a young English professor visiting from Massachusetts. She wanted to get to the top of the mountain, but she didn't trust the newfangled cog idea, so instead, she actually took a stagecoach trip to the top of the mountain. She finally made it. She was so struck from the beauty that in true English professor fashion, she went back to her hotel room and wrote a poem. That poem was later sent to a popular piece of music of the day called Materna, and Catherine Lee Bates's America the Beautiful as We Know It was born. So around this curve here, around into what's known as Inspiration Point, we believe it was views like we're going to see here in just a moment that may have inspired Miss Bates to write that famous poem, later turned song. And for anybody on board who didn't know, America the Beautiful was almost the national anthem of the United States. It lost out by only 2 votes to the Star-Spangled Banner. All right, here we go, my friends. Behold, America the Beautiful. So as usual, when everyone wants to start standing up and grabbing photos, my friends, friendly reminder, you are welcome to stand in your seated area to grab pictures. Your body needs to be firmly planted inside your seats. Do not step into the aisle and keep all exit doors clear, please.
Oh my God, it's so nice.
As we look out, we are looking out east. For anyone who's curious what you're looking at, if you look right down into the crack right here between the 2 mountains where they come together, you can see the rocks of Garden of the Gods. That rock formation you're actually seeing down there is called Kissing Camels. Look out behind Garden of the Gods, you'll see Manitou Springs. Even farther out, that mass of houses back there, that is Colorado Springs. The black looking spot, that is Black Forest. And if you look out about 160 miles, you're looking at the border with Kansas. If we get up, when we get up to the saddle, we should be able to see 180 miles in that direction on a clear day like today. So you'll actually be able to see 20 miles into Kansas. So if you're from there, wave to all your friends. Direct your attention over towards the left-hand side. You're going to see this bald-looking mountain over here. This is actually known as Waldo Canyon. That might sound familiar to you because in 2013, Waldo Canyon did catch fire, burning almost 250,000 acres. As you can see, it's been 11 years and it has still not rebounded. If you drive up during the spring or summer, Rampart Range Road, the back part of Garden of the Gods, it takes you right up through Waldo Canyon, and the burn scar can still be seen. It is absolutely devastating. Take a look to your right a little bit off that 3-seat side, this bald-looking mountain over here, that is Mount Rosa. That is the highest point that it is believed Pike and his team made it based on their descriptions in their journals.
See the mountains, look. See the mountains? We're so high now.
Another question that comes up all the time is what makes a cog railway so special? Well, I'll tell you first what makes us not so special. We are a standard gauge rail at 4 feet, 8.5 inches across the running rails. We are powered by a massive diesel electric locomotive at the back of the tree, like most railroads today. Now, this is pretty much where the similarities end. When we were back down at the depot, if you're taking a look down at the tracks, you would notice the two side rails you're used to seeing on railroads. These are called T-rails, running rails, or guide rails. If you look down the center, you would have saw that third rail down the center. That one is called rack rail. Rack rail has all those teeth in it that mesh perfectly with the 10 cog wheels underneath the center of the train. A cog wheel is a fancy name for big gear. It's because of these pieces of equipment that we are able to climb grades of 25%, like the one we're on right now. This is also what's going to keep us from going slow on the way back down. Standard adhesion railways or any standard gauge railway with no center rail can only handle grades of about 4%. For those of you on board who think our 25% grades are just the worst thing ever, we're not even the world's steepest cog railway. The steepest railway in the world climbs Mount Pilatus in Switzerland, climbing grades of over 48%.